The enormous chamber fell silent as the human delegation entered. Every species representative turned to watch the small group of bipeds walk across the polished floor toward the central platform. Their footsteps echoed in the vast space that housed the governing body of over 3,000 worlds. Ambassador Lisa Gray led the 5-person team, her simple blue uniform, standing in stark contrast to the elaborate attire of the alien representatives surrounding them. Above them, the chamber rose, hundreds of feet into a transparent dome that revealed the swirling nebula beyond the space station. The Galactic Council headquarters orbited a neutron star at the center of the Milky Way, a location chosen for its symbolic significance as the heart of the galaxy. Madam Ambassador, please step forward. The voice boomed from the raised semicircular platform, where the 7 High Counselors sat. Each represented one of the founding species of the Council, their bodies and features so different from one another that they seemed like creatures from separate dreams. Lisa stepped ahead of her team, feeling the weight of 20 billion human lives on her shoulders. The Earth had been discovered by Council scouts only 3 years ago, and the subsequent first contact had thrown humanity into chaos. Religious systems collapsed, economic markets plummeted, and governments frantically formed a unified Earth alliance. Now they faced their first formal audience with the Council, a moment that would determine Earth's fate in the galactic community. High Counselor Vrax, a towering insectoid with compound eyes that shimmered like oil on water, leaned forward. We have reviewed your application for protected status. Your species is young barely, space-capable, and demonstrably violent. Your history suggests you will be a disruptive influence among civilized worlds. The evidence suggests we should place Earth under quarantine for at least 200 cycles until you have evolved beyond your primitive tendencies. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Representatives from over 500 species watched from tiered seating that lined the walls. Many were humanoid, but others defied easy description. Gaseous entities floating in containment fields, crystalline beings that refracted light in hypnotic patterns, and massive creatures whose biology seemed to defy known science. Lisa raised her chin. The evidence you reviewed is incomplete, High Counselor. The chamber erupted. In shocked whispers at her sides, the human delegation remained perfectly still. Dr. Alan Patel, the xenobiologist, General Maria Foster, the military advisor, Professor Ted Black, the historian, and Dr. Olivia West, the linguist, all carefully schooled. Their expressions, "You question our assessment." Vrax clicked its mandibles, a sound the translator rendered as incredulous. "I do." Lisa replied, her voice steady. "We believe the Council has been deliberately misinformed about humanity." The 7 High Counselors conferred among themselves, their translators disabled. During this pause, Lisa glanced around the chamber, noting which species representatives seemed hostile and which curious. The past year of preparation had included memorizing the basic traits of over 200 major Council species, High Counselor Zulia being that appeared to be made of living stone with glowing veins of magma. Visible beneath her surface, spoke next. "This is a serious accusation. Human who do you suggest would mislead." The Council. Lisa nodded to Dr. Black, who stepped forward and activated a holographic display from his wrist device. The images showed several Council ships in Earth's orbit before official first contact had been established. These vessels belonged to the Draconi Empire, the Myth Collective, and the Orion Syndicate, she explained. They visited Earth between 50 and 100 years ago, long before your official discovery of our world. The chamber's atmosphere shifted as hundreds of representatives began talking at once. The High Counselors banged a resonating crystal for silence. "Ambassador Gray, what precisely are you suggesting?" asked High Counselor Linnar, an avian being with iridescent plumage and 6 wings carefully folded against her back. "That Earth has been under unauthorized observation for nearly a century," Lisa replied. "These powers have been harvesting our cultural transmissions, studying our conflicts, and selectively presenting information to the Council to ensure Earth would be quarantined." "And why would they do this?" Vrax demanded. "Because humanity represents something these powers fear." General Foster stepped forward, her military bearing unmistakable. "We adapt quickly, we solve problems creatively, and unlike many species, We cooperate despite our differences not because we are biologically compelled to do so, but because we choose to. Lisa nodded. Our history does contain violence, as you noted, but it also shows remarkable resilience and rapid technological advancement. The data provided to you emphasizes our wars but omits our art, our philosophies, our sciences, and most importantly, our capacity for change. Dr. Patel activated another holographic display showing the dramatic decrease in human conflicts over the past century and the exponential growth in scientific advancement. We went from first flight to landing on our moon in 66 years. He explained. From discovering the structure of DNA to mapping our entire genome in 50 years. From basic computing to quantum networking in less than a century. This rate of advancement is unprecedented in council records. The High Counselors conferred again, this time for several minutes. The chamber remained tense with anticipation. Lisa could feel the stares of hundreds of alien representatives, some hostile, some curious, and some calculating. The political implications of this revelation. Finally, Zul the Stone Being spoke. The Council acknowledges your claims require investigation. However, suspicion is not proof. What evidence do you have that these powers have deliberately misrepresented humanity? This was the moment they had prepared for the gamble that would either secure Earth's place in the galactic community or condemn it to isolation. Dr. West stepped forward and placed a small device on the floor. It projected a hologram of an alien with sleek gray skin and 4 arms. Ambassador Court of the Draconi Empire. What the hologram said shocked even the High Counselors. The recording showed Court speaking to what appeared to be Draconi military officers. The humans represent an unacceptable risk to our economic interests. Their creativity and adaptability would make them formidable competitors. Our only option is to ensure they remain isolated until we have established control over key resources in their sector. Fortunately, their violent tendencies make it easy to convince the Council they are too dangerous to join the galactic community. Lisa let the recording play, capturing additional conversations between Court and representatives from the Myth Collective and Orion Syndicate, all discussing how to manipulate the Council regarding humanity. The Council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives of the implicated powers shouted denials, while others demanded immediate action. High Counselor Vrak struck the resonating crystal repeatedly until order was restored. Ambassador Court strode to the center of the chamber, his 4 arms gesticulating wildly. This is fabrication Draconi technology, can detect falsified recordings. This must be some primitive human deception. Der West smiled slightly. Not fabrication, Ambassador Court, she said. Exobiological mimicry, one of the human delegation members transformed before the stunned Council. His skin rippled, changing from human appearance to the exact duplicate of Court. When he spoke, his voice matched the Draconi ambassadors perfectly. As you can see, we have certain abilities that your preliminary studies missed. Gasps echoed through the chamber. The real Court backed away. His gray skin paling to almost white. High Counselor Lenar leaned forward. What is this? The shapeshifter returned to human form, a tall man with dark hair. My name is Jason Reed. I am what humans call a diplomatic infiltrator. Our species has a small percentage of natural shapeshifters. We kept this ability secret, knowing it would frighten potential allies, but we used it to gather evidence when we discovered unauthorized observation of our planet. These recordings are genuine, captured during my infiltration of the Draconi embassy. The Council chambers remained silent for nearly a full minute as the implications settled in. Finally, High Counselor Zule spoke. Your species is indeed more complex than we were led to believe. The Council will need to deliberate on this new information. In the meantime, the quarantine recommendation is suspended, pending investigation. Lisa nodded, grateful for even this small victory. We ask only for fair consideration. High Counselor. Nothing more, nothing less. As the human delegation was escorted to waiting chambers, Lisa reflected on their bold strategy, revealing one of humanity's most carefully guarded secrets. The existence of shapeshifters had been a desperate gamble, but they had correctly assessed the politics of the situation. The Draconi Empire and its allies had overreached in their attempt to isolate Earth. Now the balance of power in the council would shift as other factions reassessed humanity's potential value. As allies in their private chamber, the team finally relaxed. That was too close, General Foster said, collapsing into a chair. We revealed our biggest advantage. It was necessary. Lisa replied. The council respects strength and clever strategy more than they respect rules. We needed to show them both. Dr. Patel nodded, checking readings on his tablet. The biological signatures of the council members indicated mostly positive responses. Especially from the Arcturian and Pleiadian representatives, they seemed impressed. Dr. West, who had been monitoring communications channels, looked up. The news is spreading throughout the station already. Some factions are already reaching out with unoffice. Sweat beaded on Ambassador Jack Morrow's forehead as he stood before the towering doors of the Galactic Council chambers. The intricate patterns carved into the metallic surface seemed to shift and move as if alive. Behind him stood his small team of advisors, all trying to maintain composure despite the overwhelming alien environment that surrounded them. This is it, Jack whispered to his diplomatic attaché, Susan Lane. Either we make history today, or we become a footnote in someone else's. The massive doors parted with a deep resonant hum, revealing a cavernous chamber, unlike anything humans had ever constructed. The circular room extended upward for what seemed like miles, with thousands of alien representatives seated in concentric rings around a central platform. Floating platforms carried smaller alien delegations through the air, while environmental bubbles contained species that breathed atmospheres toxic to most life forms. The human delegation has arrived, announced a melodic voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The 7 members of the High Council await your petition. Jack squared his shoulders and led his team forward. Each step on the luminescent floor triggered ripples of light that spread outward, announcing their presence to the assembled representatives of over 3,000 civilizations. Most were watching the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to outright hostility. The central platform rose to meet them, elevating the humans to the level of the High Council. 7 massive thrones arranged in a semicircle held the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. Each counselor represented one of the founding species of the interstellar alliance that governed most of the Milky Way. Welcome humans to the heart of galactic civilization, said High Counselor Rylan, a being composed of what appeared to be living crystal with thoughts visible as flashes of colored light within its translucent body. Your species stands before us barely a century after achieving spaceflight. The Council has agreed to hear your petition, though many question the wisdom of allowing such a young species to address this body. Jack bowed respectfully. We thank the Council for this opportunity. Earth understands we are newcomers to the galactic stage. We come with respect for the ancient traditions that bind the civilized worlds. Respect is easily claimed, said High Counselor Vex, a massive reptilian being with scales that shifted, color with its emotions. We have reviewed your species' history, wars, genocide, environmental destruction, religious conflicts, weapons of mass destruction. Tell us, Ambassador, why should the Council view humans as anything but dangerous? Primitives. The chamber grew silent as thousands of representatives awaited the human response. This was the moment Jack and his team had prepared for during the long journey from Earth. Because despite our flaws, we have something unique to offer, Jack replied, his voice steady. Something even the Council, with all its wisdom and power, lacks. Murmurs rippled through the chamber at this bold statement. Several counselors leaned forward with interest. High Counselor Zara, a humanoid with blue skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies, spoke next. Your species has existed for less than 1 million years. Your civilization is barely 20,000 years old. Your technology is primitive by our standards. What could you possibly offer that we lack? Jack nodded to Dr. Ellie Rivera, the team's xenoanthropologist. She stepped forward and activated a holographic display. We have studied the histories of Council species, she began. The founding members all evolved in similar ways. Slow, steady development over millions of years, gradual technological advancement, methodical expansion. Each species taking approximately the same time to reach similar milestones. The holographic display showed comparative timelines of various alien civilizations, all following remarkably similar patterns. Humanity is different, Jack continued. We evolved rapidly. Our technological development has been exponential, not linear. We went from first-powered flight to landing on our moon in a single human lifetime, from discovering atomic structure to quantum computing in less than 2 centuries. Is rapid development supposed to impress us? Asked Vex the reptilian counselor. It merely confirms your reckless nature. Jack smiled. This isn't about speed, High Counselor. It's about perspective. The council species all think in similar patterns despite your biological differences. You approach problems with the same fundamental assumptions. Your civilizations are stable, harmonious, and incredibly advanced, but they have become stagnant. The chamber erupted in outrage. Representatives shouted protests in hundreds of languages. The High Council called for order, striking a resonating crystal that produced a sound that silenced all voices. You dare call the council stagnant, snarled Vex. Our combined knowledge spans millions of years. Our technology approaches the theoretical limits of physical possibility. Dr. Ash Williams, the human theoretical physicist, stepped forward respectfully. With permission, he said, activating another hologram. This displays a chart of major technological breakthroughs registered with the Council archives in the past 1,000 years. The decline is evident. Council innovation has decreased by 78% since its formation. High Counselor Rylan, the crystalline being flashed with colors that the translator rendered as thoughtful consideration. Your observation has merit, human. But what causes this pattern? Dr. Maya Patel, the xenopsychologist, addressed this. Evolution rewards successful patterns. When civilizations find stability, they naturally resist change. The Council has created a remarkable, peaceful, and prosperous galaxy, but in doing so, it has created systems that inherently resist disruption, even when that disruption would lead to progress. Jack took center stage again. We humans are disruptors by nature. Our short lives drive us to accomplish much quickly. Our competitive instincts push us to improve constantly. Our diverse perspectives allow us to see solutions others miss. We make mistakes, yes, often terrible ones, but we learn from them. We adapt, we evolve faster than any species you've encountered. High Counselor Zara leaned forward with interest. But this still does not explain why the Council should accept your petition. For full membership, advisor status would allow you to contribute your perspective without granting decision-making authority. Now came the most dangerous part of their presentation. Jack nodded to Commander Laura Bell, who activated a secure data crystal and projected its contents. The hologram showed detailed scans of a massive structure at the edge of the galaxy. We discovered this 6 months ago, Jack explained. Our scientists believe it's a von Neumann probe of non-biological origin. The Council chamber fell completely silent. Even the environmental systems seemed to pause. High Counselor Zara stood her eyes wide. What you suggest is impossible. The harvesters are a myth, a story to frighten young species. Myths don't build structures larger than solar systems, Commander Bell said calmly. Our long-range scans indicate it's constructing something. We believe the Council has encountered these before, but has classified all information about them. High Counselor Rylan flashed colors that the translator could not interpret for several seconds before speaking. How did you discover this information? Jack took a deep breath. For the past year, Earth has been developing a new form of propulsion technology. We call it the probability drive. It allows our ships to briefly exist in all possible locations before collapsing into a single point. One of our test vessels jumped to the galactic rim, an accidental calculation error. The structure was detected before the ship returned. Impossible, Vex declared. Such technology would require manipulation of quantum states at a macroscopic level. No species has achieved this, yet humans have. Dr. Williams replied softly. The hologram shifted to show technical specifications of the drive. Your scientists declared it theoretically possible but without practical application. Our scientists built it in a garage. The High Council conferred privately for several minutes, speaking behind a sound barrier. While they deliberated, representatives from dozens Of species approached the human delegation, some offered subtle gestures of support, others clear warnings. Finally, the council barrier dropped. High Counselor Zara addressed the chamber. The council must verify the human claims regarding both the extragalactic structure and this probability drive technology. If confirmed, we will reconvene to discuss the implications. Ambassador Morrow, your delegation will be escorted to secure quarters until investigations are complete. Jack bowed respectfully. We understand High Counselor Earth stands ready to assist in any way possible. As the human delegation was escorted from the chamber, the political landscape of the council had already begun to shift. 3,000 years of established power dynamics, threatened by a species that had barely left its home planet. In their private quarters, the human team finally relaxed. Do you think they believed us? Susan asked, collapsing into a chair designed for a species with very different anatomy. Jack shrugged. They believed enough to investigate, which means they'll confirm everything we told them, Dr. Rivera. The anthropologist shook her head. The council has never faced a species like us before. Most civilizations reach space travel after hundreds of thousands of years of development. We're barely out of our caves by comparison. Commander Bell checked the security of their quarters before speaking. They were terrified by the mention of the harvesters. Whatever these things are, the council has encountered them before, and Lost Maya nodded. The psychological response was unmistakable, especially from the older species. The diplomatic shuttle approached the massive structure floating in the void between stars. Its surface shimmered with iridescent light, reflecting the combined glow of 100 nearby suns. Ambassador Diane Foster pressed her palm against the viewport, watching as the headquarters of the Galactic Council grew from a distant speck to an overwhelming presence. The space station was a marvel of engineering, a spinning wheel 20 miles in diameter, with spokes extending outward to docking ports for thousands of vessels. This is our moment, Diane said softly to her team. The 5 specialists chosen to represent Earth exchanged nervous glances. No human had ever set foot inside the council chambers. No representative of Earth had ever addressed the 3,000 species that governed the known galaxy. Captain Roy Benson, the military advisor, frowned slightly as he studied the approaching station. We shouldn't get our hopes up. The council has rejected 90% of all membership applications from newly spacefaring species. Their standards are impossibly high. Dr. Liam Wilson, the exobiologist, nodded in agreement. Most species wait centuries before they're even granted an audience. We got this meeting through luck, not merit. No, Diane turned from the viewport, her expression determined. We got this meeting because they need us, they just don't know it yet. The shuttle docked with a gentle thud, connecting to one of the hundreds of specialized airlocks designed to accommodate the biological needs of countless different species. A soft hiss indicated atmospheric normalization, followed by a musical chime. Welcome, representatives of Earth, to the seat of the Galactic Council, announced a melodic voice. The diplomatic reception committee awaits you in Chamber 12A. Please follow the illuminated path. The airlock cycled open, revealing a corridor with softly glowing lights pulsing along the floor. The human delegation followed this path, their footsteps echoing in the otherwise silent hallway. Each carried a small translating device provided by the Proximans, the first alien species to contact Earth 3 years earlier. The corridor opened into a vast circular chamber with a domed ceiling that displayed a real-time map of the galaxy. Pinpoints of light marked the 3,000 member worlds of the Council. With Earth a small blue dot, at the edge of one spiral arm, 5 beings awaited them, each representing one of the major political blocks within the Council. A tall avian creature with iridescent feathers stepped forward, bowing in the human style. I am Ambassador Trell of the Proximan Alliance, she said, her translator converting the melodic trills and clicks of her native language into flawless English. We welcome Earth to the Council chambers. A historic moment for your species. Diane returned the bow. We are honored by this opportunity, Ambassador Trell, and grateful for Proxima's support of our petition. The other alien representatives performed their own cultural greetings. A massive being with crystalline skin that refracted light in hypnotic patterns, a small hoverpod containing what appeared to be a sentient gas cloud, a humanoid with blue skin and 4 arms, and finally, a reptilian creature, whose scales shifted color with its mood. The formalities complete. Ambassador Trell led them toward another doorway. Your audience with the High Council begins in 1 standard hour. Until then, we will brief you on proper protocol. The consequences for violations can be severe. As they walked, Diane noticed how the other aliens kept glancing at the humans with expressions that her translator interpreted as concerned or anxious. Something was wrong. The diplomatic communications had indicated standard procedure for a membership application. But the tension in the alien representative suggested otherwise. The briefing room was a plain chamber with a large, circular table. The alien representatives took positions around it, leaving the humans to cluster together at one section. Before we begin protocol discussions, Ambassador Krell, the crystalline being, said, "I must ask, has your species brought the artifact as requested?" Diane exchanged confused glances with her team. "What artifact we received? No communication about bringing anything." The aliens' representatives looked at each other, the reptilian being's scales flushing a deep purple that the translator labeled as alarm. "Your government was instructed to bring the Solaran artifact discovered. In your Arctic region," Krell said, "its presence is required for your petition to proceed." Captain Benson stepped forward. "Our government received no such instructions. We came prepared for a standard membership application hearing." The blue-skinned humanoid, Ambassador Volan, leaned forward, 4 hands clasped together in what might have been concern. "The communication was sent 2 of your Earth months ago through established channels. If you did not receive it, we have been monitoring your communications." Ambassador Trell interrupted, her feathers rippling in a pattern that indicated distress. "There have been interceptions. Certain factions within the Council oppose Earth's petition. They may have blocked the message." Emma Parker, the human diplomatic specialist, frowned. "Why would anyone block a message about an artifact we didn't even know existed?" The gaseous being Ziri swirled in its containment pod, creating patterns that the translator interpreted as frustration. "The artifact is central to your petition because you found it, because you activated it, because it chose you," added. Volan Diane held up a hand. "Wait, what exactly is this artifact, and why is it so important to our petition?" The alien representatives exchanged looks before Ambassador Trell responded. "We cannot discuss it fully here. The council chambers may be monitored by those who wish to prevent Earth's membership. However, the artifact you discovered is not of council origin. It predates our earliest civilizations. Its technology is beyond our understanding. And 3 years ago it activated for the first time in recorded history when humans uncovered it." Dr. Wilson. The exobiologist looked thoughtful. "Are you referring to the object found in the Antarctic ice shelf, the one that emits the strange radiation pattern?" "Yes," Krell responded quickly. "That object has been the subject of much discussion within the Council. Its activation coincided with our discovery of your species. Some believe this is not coincidence. We brought data on the artifact," Diane said. "We have extensive scans, research papers, everything we've learned. But the object itself is too large and too embedded in the ice to transport." The reptilian Ambassador Sorel hissed its scales, shifting to a mottled green. "The absence of the artifact complicates matters greatly. There are those on the Council who will use this to deny your petition. This doesn't make sense," Captain Benson said. "Why would an ancient artifact be required for a membership application?" Ambassador Volan spread all 4 hands in a gesture the translator identified as significant revelation. "Because your petition is not standard, humanity has not been invited to apply for membership as a developing species. You have been summoned to claim a founder's seat." The human delegation froze in shock. A founder's seat. The term was familiar from their briefings. The Galactic Council was governed by 7 permanent members, the founders' species that had established the Council millennia ago. 1 seat had been empty for thousands of years. Its previous occupant, a species called the Solarians, had vanished mysteriously at the height of their civilization. "Impossible," Emma Parker whispered. "Founder seats are hereditary. We have no connection to these Solarians. The artifact suggests otherwise," Ambassador Trell said. "It responded to human DNA." It activated your genetic sequences that match Solarian patterns closely enough to trigger its security protocols. Dr. Wilson shook his head. That would mean that humanity may be descended from or related to the Solarians. Krell finished. The theory has gained significant support, particularly after your species demonstrated the unique ability to interface with Solarian technology, something no council species has achieved in 10,000 years. Diane struggled to process this revelation. Our petition isn't for basic membership, it's for a return of the seventh founder. Trell confirmed, and there are many powerful interests who wish to prevent this. The balance of power in the council has remained stable for millennia. Your claim would disrupt everything. So what do we do now? Captain Benson asked. We came prepared for a basic membership application, not a claim to a founder's seat ambassador. Trell trilled softly. We have approximately 1 hour to prepare you for the most significant diplomatic engagement in your species' history. The absence of the artifact will be used against you, but there may be another way to prove your connection to the Solarians. The next hour passed in a blur as the alien representatives briefed the humans on council protocol, the political factions they would face, and the tests that might be used to verify their genetic connection to the vanished founders. When the preparation time ended, a soft chime indicated they were to proceed to the council chamber. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was more impressive than any human structure ever built. The circular chamber extended upward for what seemed like miles, with tiers of seating for representatives of 3,000 worlds. The air was filled with hover platforms carrying delegates who required special environmental conditions. The center of the chamber held a raised dais where 6 beings sat in ornate chairs. A 7th chair stood empty, its surface covered in symbols that glowed with soft blue light. The human delegation was led to the center of the chamber directly below the High Council. The assembled representatives fell silent as Diane and her team took their positions. Humans of Earth began the central figure, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid force field. We have convened to hear your petition. The diplomatic vessel Artemis decelerated as it approached the massive structure floating at the galactic core. Ambassador Kate Powell gazed through the viewport, her eyes widening at the spectacle before her. The headquarters of the Galactic Council defied human architecture, a structure built on a scale that made Earth cities look like children's toys. The station was shaped like an enormous wheel with spokes radiating from a central hub. Each spoke housed representatives from hundreds of worlds, while the central hub contained the great chamber where the council itself met. We're really doing this, Kate whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the ship systems beside her. Dr. Marcus Reed, the xenobiologist, nodded, his expression equally awestruck. No human has ever addressed the full council, 3,000 species all gathered to hear us. It's unprecedented. Professor Elena Vasquez, the cultural attachment, checked her tablet one more time, reviewing the complex protocols they would need to follow. The gravity of their mission weighed heavily on all of them. As Earth's first official delegation to the Galactic Council, they carried the future of humanity on their shoulders. Admiral John Hayes, the military representative, stood stoically by the tactical display, monitoring the escort vessels that had guided them to council space. Each of us needs to remember what we're fighting for, he said. Earth remains vulnerable. The council's decision today will determine whether we gain protection or remain isolated and exposed. Kate nodded. We have one chance to make our case. If we fail, the unspoken threat hung in the air. 3 years ago, Earth had experienced first contact when a damaged alien vessel crashed in the Pacific Ocean. The lone survivor revealed the existence of the Galactic Council before dying of injuries. The information sent humanity into a frenzy of preparation, racing to develop technology that would allow them to reach the Council and petition for protected status. Recent deep space scans had detected multiple vessels approaching the solar system. Some friendly, some unknown. Earth needed allies now, more than ever. Artemis' final approach. Ambassador Hayes announced. The pilot, a former fighter jockey named Grace Taylor, expertly guided the ship toward the designated docking port. The Council has assigned us Reception Bay 117. Grace reported. Atmosphere and gravity match Earth standard. They did their homework, or they're sizing us up. Admiral Hayes muttered. Soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. Kate nodded to Dr. Samuel Wong, the communications specialist, to accept it. The view screen activated, showing a being with iridescent scales and 4 eyes greetings. Earth vessel. This is docking control. You are cleared for approach. Please follow the guidance beam to your assigned port council. Representatives will meet you upon arrival. Thank you, docking control. Kate replied. We appreciate your guidance. The transmission ended, leaving the human delegation to exchange nervous glances. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for since learning of the Council's existence. Grace guided the ship with precision, following the pulsing light that led them to a massive docking structure. As they approached, Kate could see dozens of other vessels of various configurations. Some resembled Earth designs, while others defied human understanding of physics or engineering. 20 minutes later, the Artemis was secured in its berth. The human delegation gathered at the airlock, each wearing the formal diplomatic uniforms created specifically for this historic meeting. Dark blue with silver accents, the uniforms were designed to present humanity as unified, dignified, and peaceful. Kate took a deep breath, reviewing her opening statement one last time. The Council would judge not just her words, but every human gesture, expression, and reaction. The future of Earth hung on their performance. The airlock cycled open, revealing a reception chamber beyond 3 beings waited there, each completely different from the others. One appeared to be composed of crystalline structures that shifted and rearranged constantly. Another resembled an upright feline with iridescent fur, while the third floated in what appeared to be a containment field of swirling gas. Welcome, representatives of Earth, said the crystalline being, its voice translated through the devices each human wore. The Council awaits your petition. I am Zaran, Ambassador of the Crystalline Concordance. These are Ambassador Lear of the Felician Worlds and Ambassador Vox of the Nebula Consciousness. Kate stepped forward, bowing slightly in the manner they had been instructed. Ambassador Zaran, we are honored by your welcome. I am Catherine Powell, representing the United Earth Government. These are my colleagues. After introductions were complete, Zaran led them from the docking area into a vast concourse. The human delegation tried to maintain diplomatic composure despite the overwhelming alienness of their surroundings. Beings of every conceivable form moved through the space. Some walked, others floated, glided, or undulated. Environmental bubbles contained species that breathed atmospheres toxic to most life forms. The great chamber awaits, said Ambassador Lear. The feline being's tail swished in a motion that their cultural briefings identified as indicating nervousness. I must warn you, the full council rarely convenes for new species. Your petition has generated unusual interest. What kind of interest exactly? Asked Admiral Hayes, his military training making him alert to potential threats. Ambassador Vox, the gaseous being, swirled in patterns that the translator interpreted as diplomatic hesitation. There are factions within the Council, with strong opinions about Earth. Your species' development has been observed for some time. Kate exchanged glances with Professor Vasquez. This contradicted everything they had been told. Earth was supposed to have been unknown to the Council until the crashed ship 3 years ago. How long have we been observed? Kate asked carefully. Ambassador Zaran crystalline form shimmered. The Council will address all questions in due time. Please follow the designated path. The presentation of your petition must proceed according to protocol. The reception area opened into a massive hallway with soaring ceilings and walls covered in what appeared to be living art images, shifted and moved, depicting what Kate recognized as various council species and historical events. At the end of the hallway stood enormous doors easily 50 feet tall, made of material that seemed to absorb and emit light simultaneously. Beyond these doors lies the Great Chamber. Ambassador Lear explained. 3,000 species. Representatives await. The High Council itself will hear your petition directly. This is a rare honor, or a rare concern, muttered Admiral Hayes, earning him a warning glance from Kate. As they approached, the massive doors began to part, silently revealing the chamber beyond. The humans froze momentarily, overcome by the spectacle. The great chamber was larger than any stadium on Earth. a vast circular room with tier upon tier of seating rising hundreds of feet upward. Each tier held representatives of dozens of species, some recognizably humanoid, others completely alien. In the center, a raised platform held 7 ornate chairs arranged in a semicircle. 6 were occupied by beings of different species. The 7th stood empty. Kate squared her shoulders and led her team forward, each step echoing in the sudden silence that fell over the chamber. 3,000 species, all watching the first humans to stand before the council. The weight of that scrutiny was almost physical. "The human delegation has arrived," announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "The petition for protected status will now be heard." The central being on the raised platform leaned forward. It appeared humanoid, but composed of energy contained within. A force field. Kate recognized it as a luminary, one of the founding species of the council. "Earth stands before the Galactic Council," said the luminary, its voice resonating through the chamber. "Your species is young, barely a century into space travel, yet you petition for protected status normally reserved for civilizations thousands of years more advanced. Present your case." Ambassador Powell. Kate stepped forward, aware that every word, every gesture would be analyzed and judged by beings whose cultures and values might be utterly alien to human understanding. "Esteemed High Council representatives of the galactic community," she began, "Earth comes before you not out of ambition but necessity. 3 years ago, we learned of your existence when a vessel crashed on our world. The survivor warned us of threats approaching our system. We have detected multiple ships of unknown origin at the edge of our territory. We seek protected status to preserve our civilization and contribute to the greater galactic community." A murmur spread through the assembled representatives. Kate continued outlining Earth's history, scientific achievements, cultural diversity, and peaceful intentions, while acknowledging humanity's violent past and ongoing struggles to overcome it. She emphasized humanity's rapid technological development, resilience, and adaptability as qualities that would benefit the Council. When she finished, another being on the Council platform rose. This one resembled a massive, reptilian creature with scales that shifted color as it moved. "Your petition is unusual," said the reptilian counselor. "Most species wait centuries after achieving spaceflight before approaching the Council. Yet you come before us barely a century after your first primitive rockets. Why should we grant protection to a species that may not have earned it?" Before Kate could respond, a voice called out from one of the upper tiers, "Because they are a genetic match." The gleaming diplomatic vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the galactic core region. The ship, small by Council standards, carried the first official human delegation to ever address the governing body of the 3,000 worlds, Ambassador. Rebecca Miller watched through the main viewport as the massive Council station came into view. Its scale defied human comprehension. A structure larger than Earth cities with sections rotating at different speeds to accommodate the gravitational needs of countless species. Rebecca felt the weight of responsibility pressed down on her shoulders. Everything humanity had worked for over the past decade had led to this moment. First contact with the Orion species had revealed the existence of the Galactic Council now. After years of preparation, Earth was making its bid for recognition. "The Council station is hailing us," announced Communications Officer Tyler Jackson. Rebecca nodded. "Open the channel." The main screen activated, showing a being with crystalline skin that refracted light in hypnotic patterns. "Earth vessel Endeavor. You are cleared for approach. Follow the guidance beam to docking port. 72C Council representatives will meet your delegation upon arrival. Thank you. Control, we are proceeding as instructed," Rebecca replied, maintaining the formal tone their briefings had emphasized. As the channel closed, Dr. Alicia Patel, the team's xenobiologist, stepped beside Rebecca. "Amazing," she whispered. "The station houses representatives from 3,000 different species, each with their own biology, culture, and history. Nothing in human experience compares to it." Marcus Green, the security chief, frowned. "That's what worries me. We're like children walking into a room full of adults, each with their own agenda, none of which necessarily aligns with ours." Rebecca understood his concern. The reports from the advance team had been concerning. Council politics were Byzantine, with factions and alliances shifting constantly. Earth's petition for recognition came at a particularly turbulent time. The war between the Draconis Empire and the Orion Alliance had destabilized entire sectors. Earth, located in a strategically important region, had suddenly become valuable territory. Well, just have to be smarter than they expect. Rebecca said, "We didn't come this far to fail." The Endeavor followed the pulsing energy beam toward the designated docking port. As they approached, Rebecca could see dozens of other vessels of various designs. Some organic-looking, others purely mechanical, all representing civilizations far more advanced than humanity. Director James Ward, the head of Earth's newly formed Interstellar Relations Bureau, joined them at the viewport. "Are the neural translators functional?" he asked. Dr. Patel nodded. "We tested them this morning. Full compatibility with all major council languages. The Orions provided excellent technology," Good Ward said. "The last thing we need is a diplomatic incident because we misunderstood some crucial nuance. Remember, the council evaluates everything, not just our words, but our body language, our reactions, even our pheromone responses. Nothing is private in the council chamber." The ship docked with a gentle thud, mechanical seals engaging to create a perfect atmosphere match. Rebecca took a deep breath and turned to the delegation. "This is our moment," she said. "Everything humanity has worked toward since first contact. We've prepared for years, studied every available record of council proceedings. We know the protocols, the factions, the expectations. But ultimately, we're here to represent Earth, not to become what they want us to be. Stay confident, stay focused, and remember what we're fighting for." The delegation, 20 humans selected from every continent and specialty, nodded their understanding. Each wore the formal diplomatic uniform designed for the occasion. Dark blue with silver trim symbols of Earth discreetly woven into the fabric. They looked united, professional, and determined, exactly the image Rebecca wanted to project. The airlock cycled open, revealing a reception chamber beyond. 5 beings waited there, each dramatically different from the others. The central figure stepped forward, a tall humanoid with blue skin and 6 fingers on each hand. "Greetings, Earth delegation. I am Ambassador Zorax of the Council Diplomatic Corps. These are representatives of the major council factions who will observe your petition." Rebecca stepped forward, matching the formal bow she'd been taught. "Welcome, Ambassador Zorax. I am Rebecca Miller, representing the United Earth government. We are honored by this reception." Ambassador Zorax gestured toward a corridor. "We will proceed to the preparation chamber. The full council awaits your petition. This is a rare honor. The council seldom convenes to hear new species, particularly those at your technological level." Rebecca noted the subtle condescension, but maintained her diplomatic smile. "We appreciate the council's consideration of our petition." The delegation followed their escorts through corridors that seemed designed to overwhelm ceilings, hundreds of feet high walls of materials that shifted and changed as they passed atmospheric barriers that adjusted automatically to the biology of those walking through them. Everything conveyed the same message. "You are small. We are vast." In the preparation chamber, a circular room with walls displaying real-time views of the galaxy, Ambassador Zorax briefed them on final protocols. "The council will evaluate not just your petition, but your species' readiness for galactic citizenship." Zorax explained, "Your technological development is minimal by council standards, but your location and certain unique characteristics have generated interest. Your petition will be heard, but you should prepare for thorough questioning." Rebecca nodded. "We are prepared." Ambassador Zorax seemed to study her for a moment. 6-fingered hands clasped before him. "There are 13 major factions within the council. 7 are likely to support your petition. 4 will oppose it. 2 remain undecided. The High Council itself maintains neutrality until voting. Understanding the political landscape will be crucial." This matched their intelligence, Rebecca thought, though she was surprised by the ambassador's forthrightness. "Thank you for the information," she replied. "We have studied council factions to the extent possible. With our limited access, A melodic tone sounded through the chamber. "The council is ready," announced Zorax. "Remember, protocol errors can result in petition dismissal." The massive doors to the council chamber slid open, revealing a space that defied human comprehension. The circular room extended upward, for what seemed like miles, with tier upon tier of seating for the representatives of 3,000 worlds. Some areas were filled with water, others with different atmospheric compositions, all contained by force fields that allowed visibility while maintaining life support. At the IEIM center, a raised platform held 7 massive chairs arranged in a semicircle. The High Council, the ultimate authority in galactic affairs. Each counselor represented one of the founding species that had established the council 50,000 years. Earlier, Rebecca led her delegation forward, their footsteps echoing in the sudden silence that fell over the assembled representatives. The eyes of the galaxy, literally, were upon them. The human delegation approaches announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Their petition for recognition and non-interference status will now be heard. The central figure on the High Council platform leaned forward, a being that appeared to be composed of pure energy contained within a humanoid force field. "Earth stands before the Galactic Council. Your species has achieved limited space travel, developed basic quantum communication, and recently survived first contact with minimal societal disruption. These achievements, while modest, suggest potential. Your petition will be heard. Ambassador Miller, you may present your case." Rebecca stepped forward, feeling the weight of 20 billion lives on her shoulders. What she said in the next few minutes would shape humanity's place in the galaxy for centuries to come. "Esteemed High Counselors, representatives of the galactic community," she began. "Earth comes before you not claiming equality with your ancient and advanced civilizations, but seeking recognition of our sovereign rights and protection. Under galactic law, we petition for non-interference status while we continue our development." She outlined Earth's history, emphasizing humanity's resilience, adaptability, and rapid technological advancement, while acknowledging their violent past and ongoing struggles. She explained how humanity had unified following first contact, creating the first truly global government in their history. The Earth United Government represents a new chapter in human development. She continued, "We seek peaceful relations with all council species. We offer our unique perspective, our creativity, and our determination to contribute positively to the galactic community. In return, we ask only for the time and space to develop at our own pace, protected from interference, exploitation, or colonization." When she finished, the council chamber remained silent for several moments. Finally, a different High Counselor spoke. This one appeared reptilian, with scales that shifted color as it moved. "Your petition is unusual," said the reptilian counselor. "Most species petition for trade rights, technological exchange, or defensive alliances. Yet you ask primarily for non-interference. Why should the council grant protection to a species that offers little in return?" This was the question Rebecca had prepared for most carefully, the subtle trap hidden within it.